Hi, I'm Leo, Managing Director of Wired, and we are in the beautiful little village of Torrita di Siena in the Tuscan hills. We're here today to talk about Dig VR, the most immersive and realistic digging game made for VR. Italy is my safe space. You know, I've come here since I was a child. This is the house my dad made. My dad moved to England in 1962. He built a life there, built a family there, and was in England for more than 50 years of his life. In England, he worked 3 jobs. He worked during the day, in the evening, and the weekends, just to try and get enough money to make sure the family was secure. In the early 80s, he had this house made, and then literally poured everything he had into it, emotionally and financially. And also, his vision was that the family would move here. He put in a lot of effort into this. And it's not until you get older that you really kind of appreciate what things people do and what they mean when you're young and rebellious and you kind of think you know it all. Yeah, sadly I had that type of relationship with my father for many, many years. And it wasn't until the later stages of my life that I kind of realised the importance of family and such. So this is an important place. My dad got to the age of 59, retired. 6 months later, started showing signs of Parkinson's. For a short period of time, we had to put him into a home. He'd had dementia for 3 years and it was very, very difficult to look after him. But it wasn't right. It was a terrible experience and there was no way I was leaving him there. So in April 2017, I took the decision to bring him to Italy. I managed to find 24-hour care, 2 carers that were living in, and basically offered him a way better life than he would have had if it was in England. Outside, he was going for walks. In England, he got to the stage where he couldn't even walk. After a few months of being in Italy, he was bouncing around. You couldn't stop him. He was wandering around, he was eating, he just had his swagger back, and he owned the place. He might have had dementia and Parkinson's, but the man bossed the place, man. There was no way you were doing anything without his approval. And he was back. There was a period when he was back, and I was kind of happy about that. 2020, at the beginning of lockdown, I came to visit my dad in Italy. And on one of the days when I was here, I was only here for a weekend, the government shut down the country, so I couldn't go home. And I had a choice to make. Do I want to quickly get out, or do I want to stay here? So I phoned the office, and I said, right lads, I'm coming back tomorrow. And stupidly, I coughed, just for a bit of a laugh, just to play on the COVID thing. And everyone in the office kind of panicked and said I was diseased and shouldn't come home. And if I did go home, there'd be a mutiny and no one would come to work. I thought, you know what? I looked around and I'm surrounded by Tuscan hills. I'm in the countryside. I've got fresh air. I've got my dad inside who was sick, and I had the opportunity to spend some quality time with him. And I thought, you know what? Sod you, office, I'm staying right here. And that was my beginning of my COVID journey. But COVID led to being bored and wanted to smash things up. So that's how the need for a digger came along. I hired a digger, and in true Italian fashion, the guy dropped it off and gave me the keys and said, there you go son, off you go, use it. So with no practice, I had control of a pretty powerful vehicle with no knowledge of what to do with it. To be honest, it wasn't very smooth, but what happened is that you do start eventually finding a really good flow of how the arm moves. You're working out the buttons and you're mashing it and you're doing the right sort of combinations and the right flow. When you do have it, it's a beautiful motion. It's a beautiful machine, and you become at one with the machine. Really, the machine is an extension of your body. That's how it should be felt. Came off this machine, lifted it all up, jumped out, and I go, hey man, this is exactly like playing a video game. And the idea popped. The digger became such a fundamental part of the COVID experience. I built a bedroom and a bathroom for my dad. We needed a digger to do the piping, planted trees, put a decking area for him, needed a digger for that. So digger became a real fundamental machine. And the more it was being used, the more the idea brewed about the game. We were lucky enough to meet a really good team called Just Add Water, who didn't just take the idea, they actually bought into it. They saw what the vision was, they saw the connection, and they made it into a game. They took an idea born in Italy and it was made in England. So it's a really good combination. COVID was horrible. People died. You know, it was a horrible experience for the majority of people. But to actually have a dedicated almost 2 years of just spending time with just one person without the need to go anywhere, without the need to do anything, and just be there, be present. For me, it was important. I was a bit of a wanker. I was a bit of a rebel growing up. I messed around, and it wasn't until later years that I kind of realised that my dad actually had my back, even though I didn't really appreciate it. So yeah, I was trying to do what I could to make it up to him and just give him a best life possible towards the end. Sadly, 2022, February 15th, the fight became too much. Dig VR is a game, but it's a bit more than just a game. It's a tribute to my father. Sadly, he's not here to see the game come to fruition, but he was definitely here for the duration of the idea, and even shouting at me, "Get off that digger, what you doing, boy?" which is always kind of ringing true in my brain. And it's one of those little moments. So it's a deeply personal project, and it's dedicated to him. It has his DNA in it. It has his memories in it. I mean, it's not about the death of a parent, but it's definitely about the bond between a parent and a child. And I think the Just Add Water team have managed to nail the experience, the emotional experience, as much as the technical and game experience.